Hey, guy with a mic in front of a green screen here. Souls games. The genre is spearheaded by FromSoft from the creation of their game Demon Souls, and popularized by its successor Dark Souls. It's known for its really difficult bosses and dark medieval aesthetics. The influence of Dark Souls spreads throughout all of gaming, with any difficult game being categorized as the Dark Souls of blank genre. Essentially, if you've touched a controller, you know what Dark Souls is. And honestly, I've never taken interest in these games. Hard bosses? No thanks. I'll stick to Mario. Just let me jump on his head 3 times and get it over with. Dark, eerie atmosphere? I'll just play Doom. Those games are way more fun. And I don't have to worry about losing over and over and over and over. These games were just not something that ever crossed my mind when I was looking for new games. But one day, my buddy Anders told me to try out one of these games. My immediate reaction was no, but eventually I caved. And that game was Elden Ring. Ruined every other game for me for months. It was the only thing I would play. And when I beat it, the only thing that would fill that void was restarting on New Game Plus. And thanks to the timing of when I played it, the DLC came out right after. Don't tell anyone, but I haven't beaten Radon yet. And, it's been too long, so I think I know if I go back, I just won't be able to beat it, so I'm just not going to do it. I'm sorry. What I want to talk about is how this game changed my perspective on a genre that I never thought I could get into. Elden Ring starts by throwing at a boss that straight wipes your ass, which in all honesty for me was not a great first impression of this game, and it gave me a dreadful feeling of the daunting journey that was to come. You were then thrown into a cave with a tutorial, and that little sense of dread started to pick up more when I felt like it was my first time ever picking up a fucking controller in my life. My brain just shit the bed on this first, not even boss. He's like a base enemy in the game, but they make him a boss in this tutorial. And I was just swinging. He killed me twice. I had no idea what I was doing. This would unfortunately be my experience for the first few hours of this game. I would say, oh hey, this spot looks sick. Dead. Oh, look at this cool area over here. Dead. Oh dude, check out this turtle, he has a hat on. Dead. So eventually, after stumbling around for a few hours, I made it to the first boss of the game. I don't get mad at video games often. Alright, that's a lie. But Margit, dude, holy shit, I was getting heated. Now, admittedly, I was just stumbling around and happened to run into this boss. So I really had no right trying to beat him with this little experience. And after like 10 attempts, I just had to turn the PlayStation off, dude. I could not do it. And unfortunately, I had to whip out the YouTube tutorial. So eventually, I got my shit together, got some upgrades, figured out some moves, and went back to my good pal Margit. Dude, killing my first boss in this game felt so good, dude. That level of satisfaction beating a boss is something I haven't felt since I beat like Mario Galaxy when I was 10. I felt that sense of doom the game had originally given me wash away. I beat a boss that felt impossible. I was starting to understand the mechanics and felt a little less like a baby picking up a controller for the first time. Suddenly, Elden Ring had clicked. No longer was I stressing about difficult bosses. No longer was I getting mauled by the easiest enemies in the game. No longer would a boss get in my way. Obviously, with one under my belt, the next would be no. Oh my god, who are you?
Hush, little Calva. I'll soon birth thee anew.
I spent more time on Renala than any other boss in this game, bro. I don't know what it was, but her second phase I could not figure out for the life of me. She spawns wolves, she spawns dragons, she spawns at the moon. I think this is a great time to explain one of my original gripes with these games. When I'm playing a video game, I want to be the most powerful thing on the screen. God of War Ragnarok, using all these fun moves and sick-ass combos to kill enemies, is a little challenging on occasion, sure, but nothing crazy. Spider-Man games where you can dodge anything and kick people in the air and throw people off buildings. I like games where I feel badass. It's fun. So I start a game like this, and I'm just a little bitch getting pounded by every enemy I see. I do not feel badass. Is it a skill issue? Yeah, probably. But this is where FromSoft grabbed me with its sneaky little tricks. The feeling of beating a boss in this game is unlike anything in any other game. Well, yeah, off rip, most of these bosses do make you feel like a little bitch. You start learning their attack patterns, and you start hitting those perfect dodges. Actually learning it and using those to your advantage makes you feel so much more badass than other games. It's like this because your badassness feels earned. A lot of these other games I mentioned are sort of artificially rewarding. Yeah, it's fun to clap a group of 20 criminals as Spider-Man, or mow down enemies as Kratos, but you don't have to put a ton of effort into those things. So yes, I love these games of course, but In Elden Ring, it feels like you were the one beating the boss. You weren't Kratos beating the boss. You weren't Spider-Man beating the boss. It was you. And that's how this game convinced me of a difficulty that I never thought I would enjoy. The other side of the coin is unfortunately the worst part of these games. So back to Ronaldo. The second half, I just could not beat. I tried over and over and over. I don't know what it was about this boss specifically, but I just couldn't do it. I was literally slamming on my desk as I fought this boss. So, you know, when you're telling someone they should play this game, you're probably not going to go, oh yeah, I was stuck on this boss for 4 hours and I wanted to bash my head into a wall and I just kept trying over and over again, but eventually I beat her, and it's like that for every boss, but I swear it's fun and it'll be the best gaming experience of your life. But honestly, it's kind of the truth. Yes, I wanted to make my forehead touch bricks at a rapid pace, but the feeling of pure dopamine when you finally beat a boss makes it all worth it. Yes, these are tough bosses, but most of the time, they're beatable. Most of the time when you're fighting a boss, you get punished for doing a stupid roll or panicking at the last bit of health that they have. And sometimes it's the gods can do it. So if you asked me before I started this game if the difficulty would be fun for me, I said no. Fuck off. Take me back to Mario. But the crack level of satisfaction that you get beating a boss just leads you to the next one and the next one and the next one. Okay, so they sold me on the biggest gripe, but I want to talk about all of the stuff that got me to purchase this game originally. I'm a sucker for good weapons in a video game. And Elden Ring has some banger weapons. You got the gut sword, the blood sword, the moon sword, you got the claws, the wands, and that's just a small few. There's over 300 weapons in this game. Some for pure strength, some you can use with magic. Just the sheer scope of different and funny builds you can make in this game was a huge selling point for me. I love being able to pick and choose in video games, and being able to minutely change your character this much with stat points or even cosmetically is just so cool. This is also the case with armor sets in this game. Having cool matchups and stats. And dude, when I found out you could go to the round table hold and buy armor from the bosses, like way too late in the game, I got excited. But the main sell for me wasn't the rewarding bosses or the cool armor sets. The biggest thing that kept me coming back to this game was one of my favorite games ever made is Breath of the Wild. I played it when I was like 12 when the Switch came out, and I was the biggest Nintendo nerd ever. I still am, but you know, when you're 12, everything's got a little more whimsy to it. So experiencing a truly open world game that doesn't tell you where to start or where to go was just something I craved. No other game has scratched that itch for me since, until Elden Ring. Breath of the Wild's exploration shines by using the environment to lead you places. The map is so dense, you'll see a village in the distance and say, hey, I want to go there. And as you make your way down, you run into a giant bokoblin in the forest that you just have to go look at. It's always giving you points of interest to make those travel distances between A and B so much more interesting. And Elden Ring does this to an even crazier extent. See, in Breath of the Wild, you go, oh, look at this sick cave. Oh, nice, there's a side quest down here. In Elden Ring, you see a cave, you go, oh, sick cave, there's probably some loot down here. Then you end up in an entirely different map that has one of the coolest fucking bosses in this game that is completely optional, that some people won't even see going through 100% of their playthrough. That sense of exploration is something I had been craving since my first playthrough of Breath of the Wild. I love being able to talk to Anders and send him a snap of where I was, and he'd have no idea what the location was, and him telling me about some boss that I'd never seen and never did see. The density of this game and being able to have a completely different experience from someone else who also played the game is just so cool to me. But open world has kind of become a stinky term. Every AAA company trying to make their game open world for the sake of it being open world, when in reality it's kind of just their old formula with a bunch of empty space that's really unneeded. And that's why Elden Ring is such a breath of fresh air in the genre that hasn't happened since Breath of the Wild. Due to the oversaturated market of open world games, when I heard that Elden Ring was FromSoft's first attempt at an open world, I was not too excited about it. But when I started to hear the Breath of the Wild comparisons, my brain did a full 180. My only gripe, I think, is that sometimes to progress the story or where you need to go, it can get a little confusing, and I definitely had to watch my fair share of YouTube tutorials. Alright, the final thing I want to talk about is the atmosphere in this game, dude. Holy. Every place you go in this game is dripping with atmosphere. The fog and the particle effects, the lighting, the colors. all combined beautifully and give every spot in this game its own personality. This is especially true in the DLC as well, and they add a ton of cool new spots. The base world always has the Erd tree that you can see from somewhere, the spacey gems of Noxtella, the foggy blue mist of Rea Lucaria, the bright orange forests outside of the capital. All these gorgeous spots on top of the exploration makes it so much more rewarding. Because not only will you see a sick-ass boss or get some cool new loot, but you'll get a great view too. So FromSoft, I'm sold. You hooked me by giving me what I love in video games. With a dense map, great for exploration, and a bunch of sweet locations, awesome weapons and armor, and used it to coax me into a difficult gameplay loop that I never thought I'd like. Playing this game has actually convinced me to go back and get some of their old games. I recently downloaded Dark Souls 3, and I'll play it when Marvel Rivals stops being so addicting. So if you were like me and you didn't think these games would interest you, I would really give Elden Ring a try. You only need to watch like a couple YouTube tutorials.